Okay, hi everyone. Today wanted to talk about some wargaming the Ottomans in World War One because I found some a miniature range I came across and wanted to share it. Just wanted to give a quick history lesson as a bit of an introduction. So, the Ottomans don't enter World War One until 1915. So after there had been fighting in Europe. At that time, the empire was under the control of a group called the Committee of Union and Progress. They're also called the Young Turks. Basically, in 1908, they had done a revolution or a coup. The terminology is debated anyway. But essentially, they restore a constitutional regime that had been eliminated by the Sultan that they deposed, Abdul Hamid, and they take power. And they're still a sultan, but effectively they're running the government of the empire. That YouTube channel, The Great War, that was doing videos during World War One centennial, has some pretty good summaries of the warriors for the Ottomans, but I also have some books I'll show in this video as well. But in terms of wargaming opportunities, I think most people are familiar with Gallipoli, huge battle, very bloody. But there's also a lot of other fighting that the Ottomans did during the war. So we have in the Caucasus, so we have the Caucasian front up here in what is northeastern Anatolia against the Russians. That had been a very difficult front in 1916. And then, of course, there's the Arab revolt down in the Arabian provinces. Lawrence of Arabia, that's quite famous. And then there's also the fighting in Mesopotamia and in Palestine or, Syria. So plenty of opportunities for wargaming, and I think we can take a look at the miniatures now. So let's go to the company Firelock Games, they released a set of rules called Blood and Valor for doing World War One skirmish gaming, and I think the Eastern Front of World War One is good for coming up with more skirmish-oriented scenarios. And this company that they partner with, Phalanx Consortium, has some resin. Let me see. Yeah, 100. So this is designed for those rules, but they're 28 millimeter resin miniatures, so they can be used for a bunch of different rules. And you could also probably use these if you wanted to wargame the Turkish War of Independence, because there was fighting between the Unionist forces, the forces of Mustafa Kemal, and the French and British, and also the Greco-Turkish War in the early 1920s. So I think these would work well for that as well. I wish they'd show the actual miniature, not the 3D file, but no big deal. I mean, I think they look pretty good. And so for $70, you get command unit, so 16 riflemen, assault team, NMG, the bases, and I think that's a nice little deal. Everything looks pretty good. I like the officer. That's nice. And the assault unit with the German steel helmets is a nice touch. But there's also another set of a range of World War I Ottoman miniatures. So from Gripping Beast, there's two kind of ranges. So this is the Turkish range, and these are all metal miniatures. And they have the Krupp gun, which is a nice touch. There's two different groups. There's the ones, I guess, where you can swap the heads around, and ones where it's one piece. And then they also have their own starter army deal. So roughly about the same as the other set. So you get some officers, NCOs, bombers instead of an assault team, 20 infantry, and an HMG. If I could get my hands, if I could order these and show them on the channel, I would. Unfortunately, as I've mentioned in my recent videos, it's very difficult for me to buy any wargaming stuff because I am currently making Turkish lira, so the currency situation here is not great, to say the least. Anyway, and the Gripping Beast also has an Ottoman Arab soldier range. So I think this would be really great for doing Mesopotamia, or there's this Palestine campaigns to mix in some Turks and have some Arab units as well. This company also has, if you want to do, let's say, where is it? Blood and Valor. Here we go. They also have Russians, so if you want to do those Caucasus campaigns fighting the Ottomans, I think it would be great. You could get a Russian force and an Ottoman force, and that would be perfect for doing the Caucasus fighting in 1915, 1916. And then, as I like to do, I'll show some reading material if you want to learn more about this. So this guy, his name is Edward J. Erickson. He is a fairly well-respected historian of the Ottomans in basically the World War I period. And his book that I first learned about is this one that's kind of small, Ordered to Die, A History of the Ottoman Army in the First World War. I think I'm going to get that from the library soon and check that out. He also has this book, Ottoman Effectiveness in World War I, which I'd also be interested in reading at some point. Because the Ottomans had a lot of problems during the war. It's too much to get into here, but basically that crisis I mentioned, the revolution, and then the Balkan Wars in the early, before World War I, essentially, creates a lot of issues for them. And they also lose Libya to the Italians sort of concurrently. So the CUP that was in charge were trying to create we're trying to reform the system, basically, but before they could do that, they had all these wars happening, and then World War I happens, and so any hope that they had to kind of stabilize the empire didn't really work, and then that's when you get Mustafa Kemal Ataturk in the 1920s, who wins the War of Independence in his movement, and they create modern Turkey. So, quick history lesson. But anyway, if you want to learn more, Erickson is a good author to check out. And we also have some other authors, because it's good to always get different opinions and different perspectives when you're reading history books. So these are just a few. So Sean McMeekin, I've read, well, 2.5. I read Berlin Baghdad Express, which is very good. He's also a very just good writer, very entertaining, and that's about the Ottoman and German alliance and their effort to basically create a railway, and that was the idea was to circumvent British dominated shipping through Suez, etc. A lot written about that anyway. And then this other book, Ottoman Endgame, that's kind of about the empire during the First World War and the dissolution at the end. And then there's another historian, Mustafa Aksakal, who wrote this Ottoman Road to War in 1914. I'm not super familiar with his work, but he's fairly well respected, I think. So that's what I have for today. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe learned something new. And if you have any suggestions or comments, please post them in the comments, and I will talk to you in the next video.